Hello, this is a discussion of Jefferson's Declaration of Independence, and this will be a shorter discussion because this reading is a little, well, I should say a lot easier than Plato or Rousseau. So first of all, I want to talk about the structure of this argument, and one thing that students often struggle with is figuring out what the claim is. So what is the purpose and the main argument of this declaration? And often they look at, we hold these truths to be self-evident. But actually, if you scroll down, we have a delayed claim in this case. And this is down near in the last paragraph at the bottom of the page, where they are declaring independence. So we therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled and appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, and so on, and continuing on. That's the claim. And so if you think about the purpose of the Declaration of Independence, it is to declare that independence. So if you look back up at this statement about all men are created equal, that's actually part of the reasoning. The United States, or the colonies, cannot become the United States, cannot declare independence unless it's true that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Furthermore, they can't do so unless that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute a new government. If that's not the case, then they have no right to declare independence. So that's why that's the reasoning there. Moving on, we see also some rebuttal in this particular argument. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. So the Declaration admits that government shouldn't be overthrown for just any reason. There needs to be good reason for which the people choose to overthrow it. And then we have a lot of evidence here. All of these abuses of the king that are listed, that's the evidence that we see here. Okay. So a lot of logos are very clear. Once you see how it's working, very clear structure in terms of how the logos is working with the claim, reasoning, evidence, and rebuttal of opposing views. And with those appeals to logos, we also see appeals to pathos or emotion, because we see that a lot of these abuses are affecting the people, and especially at the time when the founding fathers and Jefferson writing this and them working together to revise this are thinking about how to draft this. They really want to encourage those people who are being affected by these abuses to support the call to war and to continue supporting it. And so this connects to abuses that they've felt. And then in particular, this statement that all men are created equal is especially powerful. In fact, it's so powerful and is such a strong appeal to pathos that it not only helped sustain the revolution, but it's also had a continuing effect. And we see that with Stanton, with her using this and expanding the statement to include women. We see this in civil rights movements that have looked to the Declaration as a source of explanation for why they're fighting for their rights, and so on. And of course, Kairos, time, place, and audience. We see that this was written at a time when the people needed to be encouraged to take up arms or to deal with the consequences of war. It also helped encourage France, in particular, to support the revolution, and it helped inspire their own revolution as well. We see, of course, that the King of England and the English people are probably not going to agree with this, but the main audience is those people who need to be inspired to take up or keep up the fight. And then, of course, appeals to ethos. It's well written. We see the signatures at the end here of the founding fathers. Jefferson in particular being the key author, the one who had the most influence over the Declaration, was well respected at the time. And so this is really important. It's especially important that it's the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, because without that sense that there's agreement, it wouldn't have the same ethos or credibility. So if you're using this for your definition argument, it may be that even though you don't want to use Jefferson's claim, because of course we fought the revolution, we won, the United States is its own country, but you may want to look to this idea of when a government is not serving the people, being able to change that government. You might want to think about whether or not we actually have that ability now, or if it's become corrupted. Sometimes students just use these 3 points for their definition. They argue that to be free, we have to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they define each of those, explaining what they mean to them, and then use that for their definition. So this might be a good resource for you for that particular essay.